Hello everyone, it is Joe here from Omnipoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon, and today it's time for a really interesting deck from the new Guardians Rising set. This is going to be Garbodor Dragons, I guess is the best way to describe it. It's kind of like a toolboxy deck, and I'm going to have to go through a lot of these cards and why they're in here in the certain counts they are. But this is an interesting archetype I've been playing around with. The idea is to put early pressure on with Latios EX, a card we haven't seen much of. It has the option to donk certain decks, which is very cool as well. In a similar shell to... it's sort of like a hybrid between where Dark Dragons used to be and the new Garbodor decks. It's like a culmination of the two, where we have a few tech dragons in here to try and figure out certain matchups and improve them, and then we just have the late game sweep of Garbodor. So yeah, it's an interesting deck for sure, and it's one that I've been loving playing around with. It's a lot of fun. So let's jump straight into it. Really, there is no main attacker. It's just different stages. So early on in the game, Latios EX is going to be your focal point, of course. It has the fast rate attack for a Psychic Energy dealing 40. If you go first, you can actually use this attack, which means anything with 40 or less HP can be one-hit KO'd, and sometimes we can win the game off that alone. We do have Choice Band in here, which goes up to 70. We have Kukui, which goes up to 90. That's only against EX and GXs. But if we're actually looking to get one-hit KOs, we can use Professor Kukui to get up to 60 damage. And 60 damage is enough to KO EVs, which is very important because Sylveon is typically a deck that plays 4 basic Pokemon. And that means that they only have like a 16% chance to start more than one Pokemon in the game. So if you go first, you are likely to donk a Sylveon player, which is very good for you, as long as your deck functions. It's very rare that they will have 2 bench Pokemon starting out. So as long as you can Kukui and find a Psychic Energy and get Latios into the active, you're getting a donk, which is cool. Also, Greninja, as long as they don't start Talonflame, I guess. Sometimes there are non-Talon builds right now. Again, 60 HP. There's like Combees, there's Magikarps, there's Rowlets, there's Oddishes, there's all sorts. There's Phantomps even. Loads of different things right now. Zoruas, god, I can keep listing them just as they come to me. Fast Raid can get plenty of KOs, and it's more consistent than previously because we have Tapu Lele to search out Professor Kukui. So we are much more likely to get to the 60 barrier than we ever have been before, without having to dilute the deck with like 4 copies of Professor Kukui. So Latios gets a huge buff in this format, I think. Choice Band makes its actual first attack really relevant. We have great pressure going first. Going 70, between 70 and 90 turn 1 is really, really strong. It does have the second attack, Light Pulse, that does 110 and prevents all effects of your opponent's attacks except damage done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. It can protect you from getting your like energies taken off by things like Drampa and stuff like that, which is pretty cool, but overall it's not the best attack. I think it is the go-to option if we are up against a heavy Drampa build, but that's really about it. Its numbers aren't fantastic from there, but I just love the early pressure that this comes out with. Going from 70 into 140 is obviously better numbers than previously, so very, very good stuff. We are playing Psychic Energy and DDE, so we can ramp up to this quite quickly. But yeah, this is in here to try and donk some decks, which is quite funny, and just close out games before they even begin. Very annoying, but it's a strategy that is now available, I think, and fairly frequent. I initially started off this list by having 4 Latios, dropped down to 3, now dropped down to 2, so the donks aren't as frequent as they could be, but I now feel the deck is more well-rounded and more able to take on decks when, you know, you go second, which is half the time. Let's have a look at another couple of dragons. We have Giratina EX, still very strong. The Renegade Pulse ability is still going to help us out against Mega decks, at least force Hex Maniacs if nothing else. And we have the Chaos Will attack, which is still really strong. 100 baseline, goes up to 130 with Choice Band, isn't bad at all. And it stops the opponent using tools, special energy, or stadium cards from their hand. Again, very disruptive. There are still DCE decks out there. Gyarados is still being played because Tapu Koko's yet to be released, at least. There's other DC reliant decks. There's Tauros, there's Drampa. There's quite a few things that are reliant on DCE. And Giratina is going to punish those things. Obviously things like Yveltal as well. There's also some Stadium reliant decks. There's loads of things that are reliant on certain things, and Chaos Wheel just prevents that. So he's a good one-off option to have. Obviously really love him against Rayquaza as well. And then we have Salamence EX in here. His Beastly Fang is really cool. The 10 base plus 50 more for each of your opponent's EX Pokemon. Only play the 1 count because he only really comes out against, again, some Mega Evolution decks like Rayquaza, Mewtwo if that's still around, also Volcanion, which is a big one. It really just slows down the Volk player from doing a lot. Because we're playing Garbodor and Salamence, they really can't play the game as the Volk player. As soon as we start getting over baby Volcanions, it's like a bit of a breeze for us in that matchup. So, yeah, Beastly Fang is much better. And Dragon Strike also can now get one-hit KOs because of Choice Band and Kukui. We can actually hit 180 with Dragon Strike, so this has also been minor buffed. We can't use it during the next turn, but you know, it can just blow something up. So Salamance's, even his second attack is really good, so he's a good one-of in here as well. We are going to have one Hoopa EX, just a Scoundrel Ring. This is just to increase the donk chance more than anything else, because you can grab the Latios and a Shaymin, so you can keep cycling, because your supporter for the turn has to be Kukui, so you have to have sorted out your donk before you've got the supporter in, unless you just hope with Kukui and hope to draw like the Floatstone or something off your last 2 cards, which can happen of course, but Hoopa increases your odds of getting turn 1 donks, so I like having it in here. It's also just a normal consistency card. You don't have to get it out in every game, but it is going to be helpful for you, of course. Especially because we only play like 1 counts of our specific attacker in different matchups. It's good to just Hoopa them all out if need be. 2 Shaymin EX to help us cycle turn 1 and get elixirs on board if we're going for a long game approach, or just to try and get that donk. And then we have 2 Tapu Lele GX. Its Wonder Tag is phenomenal. It can go for Kukui, which wins games literally instantly. It can go for Hex as well, which is important, and then just anything else during the game. Tapu Lele's attacks are also handy. We are playing elixirs, so Energy Drive can come in helpful. And of course, we have Tapu Cure available to us. It's our only GX attack in the entire deck. So when we are tanking hits with some of our beefy dragons, we can move into Tapu Lele and cure them up, which is very cool for you. So yeah, bear that in mind for certain. And then we have a 2-2-1 line of Garbodor. It's rare that you'll see a thicker line of the evolution than the basic, but I feel it's fine. We are just playing the 2 Acid Spray Trubbish. I prefer this one. 1 Garbotoxin Garbodor. There are certain matchups where Ability Lock is going to be great for you. Think about things like Aqua Box. Think about Volcanion, of course. Decidueye, if you can develop this, of course their damage just goes straight down to the floor, and we can Chaos Wheel them as well and stop them putting on DC in the first place, so that's typically a decent matchup. We have Hex to re-establish Floatstones or put them on in the first place if they've got turn 1 lock, so Garbodor, amazing for so many matchups. And then we have the other Garbodor, which is the late game card. Basically, once the early tempo of this deck, once we've used all of our elixirs, double dragons are coming down to like 1 or 2 left in deck, we're sort of running out of attackers. That's when Garbodor comes in, saves the day, does the rest of the damage to start just, you know, taking the last couple of prizes. So this is where I go back to the analogy of it being the new age of Dark Dragons, where normally the Darkrai would be the thing that sort of keeps you going when you're attaching energy and keeping it on the board with elixirs and stuff. You snowball and you get to that late game stage where you're getting 1 hits. And here we sort of have early aggression for sure, because we have like Latios, Choice Band, Kukui and stuff like that. And we have all of our elixirs, but once our opponents start to get over these EX Pokemon, that's when Garbodor comes in. For people to keep up with this deck, they need to start playing items a lot of the time. And Garbodor is going to finish them off, and that's going to be great for us. So, onto the items. 1 Rescue Stretcher. We play really low counts of our attackers, so recovering the important ones is obviously important. So, yeah, I like this card. It could be super odd if you wanted to, but I like the immediate access of Stretcher. If you want to get just the 1 target, like you just need a Garbodor this turn, you just grab it into the hand, put it straight down, trash Avalanche them in the face. So I like this card just more overall. It can also reuse Shaymin or Lele in like late game situations, which is really cool. 2 Field Blowers. It's going to ramp up our trash Avalanche damage. It's going to get rid of opponents' Floatstones, Choice Bands, Stadiums. It's the only way we can contest the Stadium in the deck, so pretty good. We are playing 3 Trainer's Mail to help us cycle. You can see there's some weird counts in this deck, like 3 Elixirs a weird count, 3 VS Seekers, it's all weird counts, but it's all just to fit this stuff in, really. So we're having to settle for 3 Trainer's Mail. 3 Elixir, I've already said that we go for early tempo, we go for early aggression, but that sort of fizzles out, and we sort of let that fizzle out, and we just go, you know what, Garbodor, you do the rest. So I feel like 3 Elixir is normally fine. We only need them really to pop off on like Salamence and Giratina anyway, and there are some matchups when these aren't even the best attackers, so I think 3 is fine. It can also help with Tapu Lele keeping us in the game, but that's really about it. For Ultra Ball, still super important. Hoopa grabs us everything, and in general gets the Lele for Kukui to try and close the game turn 1, which is pretty cool. 3VS Seeker, I think this is just a cut. Just again, had to make spaces somewhere, couldn't fit in everything. 1 Hex Maniac, helpful again. There's a Decidueye, there's Aquabox, there's Volk, there's Guardy, there's Rayquaza, there's so many things that are great to Hex. If you can't donk the Sylveon player, if you know that you won't be able to get Latios in the active, you can still Tapu Lele, go for Hex them, keep them at an Eevee rather than a Sylveon, and then follow it up next turn and try and KO them. That's still an option for you. 2 Lysandre just help us pick off things. The deck doesn't have that much inherent damage, so finishing off things that we're trying to 2-hit is going to be helpful. 2 Kukui, one of the most important cards in the deck. It's too important to be a 1 count because you prize it too much. So I like this card, it's just great aggressiveness. We don't need to do much a lot in our turns, we just have a 1 energy attacker that just sort of swings. So Kukui is very nice, and of course it's what makes donks happen. 3 N and 3 Sycamore to round it all out, just the standard counts really of supporters. Sometimes we see 4 Sycamore, but the more I see Garb get played, the more I want to play less of this card. And we have double Lele in here anyway, so we have like good outs to hit turn 1 Sycamore if that's what we need to do. 3 Choice Band, I've actually flirted with playing 4 in here because I think the card is so important for our numbers. It's great pressure turn 1, it's going to help us reach the final hurdles as Garb, it's just good all round. And 4 Floatstone, we want to be able to move whatever attacker is in the active on the very first turn of the game so that we can get into Latios. You could potentially cut one of these for something like Altar of the Moon, which could potentially also move you from the active. Trubbish has 2 retreat, Hoopa has a 2 retreat cost, Lele is less than that, Salamence is 2, even Giratina is a 3 retreat cost, but if you put 1 Psychic on, you can just pay a retreat out. So if you hit an Elixir, you can attach to the active Altar of the Moon and retreat. So potentially that could make the space in here instead of 1 Floatstone, but I think if you're playing just 1 Stadium and everyone's playing Field Blower and probably 2 or 3 counts, I think it's just not worth contesting. Just try and Field Blower them if you really need to get rid of their Stadium. Prefer just to increase our odds of finding Float turn 1. Of course it's going to help out with Garbodor as well for the Garbotoxin. And finally we're just playing 12 energy, the Double Dragons of course, so that we can use these beefy attacks, and the Psych Energy just to round it all out. So that is going to be the deck. Let's have a look at some different options. Really, I think I'd mess around with counts more than anything else in this deck. If I was going to start adding in Pokemon, I think it dilutes from what we're trying to achieve with this deck. I think you could try out the other Trubbish. I think you could try different counts of Trubbish Garb. Initially, I actually had just one of these Garbodors. We had a 1-1 split. But this guy is too important to prize, really. And it's good to have access to it as well. For trainer cards, this is where it does get kind of different. I've just mentioned Altar of the Moon. This could help retreat between your dudes. We do have lots of chunky things in here, so that could be really helpful, especially against things like Decidueye, where you can't develop your float stones. In a similar vein, Olympia could be really good for you for moving out your chunky dudes. We have to just be careful against Decidueye. Bear in mind, of course, we can donk them quite often, so that's just a thing. And yeah, you just have to bear that in mind. Of course, they do have some higher HP Pokemon as well, but typically the higher HP Pokemon are Shaymin and Tapu Lele. They don't want to put those on the board straight away. They want to wait so they can use them turn 1. So typically they just shove the Rowlet in the active or shove Oddish in the active. So with only 6 basic Pokemon, I actually have the spreadsheet up here. With 6 basic Pokemon, they only have a 26% chance of getting 2 Pokemon. So like the 4 Rowlet and the 2 Oddish are the only things they want to put down turn 1, really, if they're going first. Obviously, in a game like 3 scenario, they may put down Tapu Lele just to like have more HP and not get donked. But in a game 1 scenario, they only have like a 26% chance of starting more than 1 basic, so that's something to bear in mind. So yeah, I think where was I going with that? I really can't remember where I was going. I was talking about Altar of the Moon, wasn't I? Something like that. But anyway, more supporter options. You can play things like Judge. Again, trying to play around Sylveon, stopping them having hands and just end the game quickly. Also shuffle their hand in so that they don't have the outs to just destroy you. There's potentially other stadiums as well. Parallel City could be the one of, just bouncing our own Shaymins and things like that. And Hoopa, so they're not Lysandre stall targets. But yeah, from there, counts-wise, I think is the things you'll want to change. If you want to go heavier on the dragons, you could go up to more elixirs, go up to more males, go up to more VS Seekers. I think for now, the deck is like as rammed as it can be. But I think it could be a lot of fun, and I think this works. So let's go ahead, find some games with it, and see how many people we can donk. There's actually also the option to play a beginner in here. I should have mentioned that, so that you can protect your double dragon energies. But yeah, lots of different thoughts going on with this deck. It's still fairly new. I've only just started really testing it. But I do like it in theory, and that's at least something. I've had like 5 games with it so far, and I've been pretty happy with the results. I've donked 2 people, so that's pretty cool. So, let's go for it. Let's see what we're up against first of all. Oh, starting Hoopa is so bad for our donk potential. We do have double float though. Oh man, sadness. Okay, let's see how many Pokemon they lead with. Only 1 Pokemon. Can we do it? Oh, it's a Shaymin. Sadness. Okay. Right, we're just going to get rid of this hand then. We don't need to Kukui, so we can just do the other shenanigans. We can... I think I still want to go for Latios. Set up a 2-hit KO. I think it's fine. We play out our hand this way as well. I could have kept both Floatstone, but I want to keep the slot open for Choice Band on this guy later on. So that's why we discarded 1 Floatstone. Yeah, there's Choice Band now that I could put on actually. I'm actually going to hold off on putting it down now because we already, like, Field Blow is already good for them, and I'd rather have this for a relevant attacker in the following turns. So we're actually just going to pass here by attacking. This does set up the fast raid KO, which is cool. But, ooh, looks like we're up against Lurantis. Lurantis is a hard matchup for us for sure. They don't need to play too many items typically. And at the same time, we can't really do much with our dragons. Like, Salamence is bad, Giratina's not fantastic, and Latios isn't that strong. So really we have to hope that they play too many items. That's one of the things we have to hope for. They're playing Rough Seas, so it's an evolution build at least. So at least they're not playing something like Shinotic, where they can just search out every single Pokemon without using items. They are going to dig for Shaymin. I want them to dig as much as possible, really. They do find Forest, so they can attack us turn 1 here. They're going to use an Ultra Ball, getting rid of Olympia and N. And probably going to go for Lurantis here, if not another Shaymin. Potentially Tapu Lele. But they already have lots of supporters in the discard pile. Oh, they just go for Eevee. Interesting. They might have Lurantis in hand then. Wow. That's something. Okay. So we're taking 2 prizes here, which is cool. I'm just going to bench this, do this. Do I need to Shaymin here? Don't really need to. What else do we really want this turn? There's not much else we want other than hitting like random elixirs. And we can try and do that next turn anyway, because we have a Floatstone on this guy. We are going to get hit with... We could get him with N though. And we're going down to 2 prizes really quickly. Okay, let's try and cycle a little bit now. A little bit safer against N. Lele. I kind of do want to keep Lele, but at the same time I want to keep Lele to to protect ourselves from N in a moment. So we'll just grab Trash Avalanche now. Put him down, threaten him with this. And we'll just fast raid. So our opponent got rid of a load of supporters and then chose not to use one at the end of their turn, which is a strange thing for me. Maybe they thought they had a third Shaymin in deck, but it was kind of like a false start from them. Field Blower is also really good in here for getting rid of our own choice bands so that we can like move out of our Pokemon. Okay, so they replace the stadium and then go for N. So I like that we tried to develop as much as we could before the N came in. Energy to the benched Fomantis. And just Synthesis, wow. Really slow. Now if we top deck Lele here, we could Kukui, which is hilarious. But no luck there. Two, 4, 6, 8. Keep the slot open for Lele. I guess so. Let's fast raid for 40. It's not a whole amount. They can rough seize off if they do find Vaporeon. There's Jolteon. Oh, it's the same thing. Jolteon also does the rough seize. Going to see a escape rope. We'll go into Hoopa. We have a float stone if they want a field blower. I see a level ball for another Fomantis. We're at 120 with our Trash Avalanche. How many energy in here? There's 2, right? Yeah, there's 2. They're just going to Solar Blade. They don't want to attach energy. They've got no hand. Interesting. We're just going to attach here. Ultra Ball for Lele. I think I want to Ultra Ball Lele. We could just go Shaymin. No, Lele is safer. Lele's one more card. And it's an attacker. Okay. Let's grab this. Have an Elixir. Which hits, which is nice. Stretcher won't be too useful. We can retreat here and just Light Pulse for 140. It'll go down to... you can minus 60 this turn, so down to 80. Which means we still get the 2-hit KO on it. Let's see what their 1 card is, how valuable it is. Yeah, it's nothing. Cool, cool. So, we'll just continue to attach Light Pulse for the KO. So that little inconsequential 40 got us a 2-hit EX KO turn 2. And we were able to like still power up stuff on the bench. That's what I love the most. We only commit 1 energy to the active and we're still doing like 70. It's pretty cool. And they have Sycamore, which means we have the game in hand no matter what they do. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So Garbodor was getting to 190 with our own choice band anyway. So you can see how we had the late game sewn up as well. They drew pretty poorly, but this should be a hard matchup for us, I would say. The fact that they put down 2 Shaymin does help out a lot. But it's a GX focused deck that doesn't have any special energy. This should be a hard matchup for us. But hey. We got there. Let's put on the choice band for swag points. And trash a lunch. Nice. Nice win. And that wasn't even a deck that we're trying to counter, which is cool. Who knows? They could have started Formantis and we could have gone for the combo. We started Hoopa there. Everything was pretty bad for us and we still got the win, so nice. Let's see what else is on the ladder. Psychic Water. Could be Ninetales. Ninetales normally has Remoraid's and Vulpix. Very good. Oh, we have the Kukui in hand. Let's see if they start 2 Pokemon or not. Oh boy. Oh, it's a Lapras. That's much bigger. Okay. So the dreams of the Donk are over. Oh man, Kukui before the Elixir and then drew into basic energy. That's so sad. We will develop Floatstone onto this Trubbish though, because we obviously want to develop Garb. So we'll just pass. We want to develop the ability lock Garb to stop their Manaphy shenanigans. Oh wow, it's Quad Lapras. This is a horrific matchup for us. Horrific. This is bad. Which means we don't go for ability lock, we go for this Garb. Boys. There's no point even attaching to the benched Tina because it'll never get there. So we're just going to have to hope to pressurize enough to get some items gone here. We really need to find Field Blower. Because currently we're doing effective 0 because of these 2 things. If we get the Field Blower, we're doing 40 at least. He's threatening KO. It's really not good for us. Let's have a think of our best attacker here. I think it's actually Latios for now. Ugh. Really not a good matchup. Usually I'm like equipped to deal with Aqua Box because I can shut off the mana fee and we can sort of trade attackers, but when they're playing Energy Denial, it's much worse for us. So we want to hit Field Blower choice band here. Looks like we're gonna N. Really poor hand. Let's do 10 damage, shall we? So this is just a hideous matchup. The only thing we have going for us is that they need to start playing items. Not now, but eventually. Okay, that's Sycamore. Okay, Fiblo's something. E-Hammer, what are we at? 2, 4, 6, 8. Still a while away. There's a Steven. They went straight for the handiwork. Man. They don't even care. Man, the turn 1 floats down on our guard was so bad. I just thought it was a different matchup. Surprising one of our Trubbish is quite bad for us. We have one supporter left in deck. Ugh, problems. All sorts of problems. I think the only way we win is by rushing him. I could have field blowed my own tools, but I didn't feel like doing that. Of course, he used Blizzard Burn last turn, so he shouldn't be able to KO this Garb unless he has Ranger in hand. Let's see how well he did off the N. Typically, Lapras just has a load of reactive cards. There's Mail for Rough Seas. Rough Seas pushes it back to 130, so we can still kill it with the Tina. He does put down another Lapras though, so he probably just retreats in Rough Seas. What I would do. Oh, he had N anyway. Damn, I thought that was our only chance to win the game there. It was so easy for him to just draw poorly. Yeah, there's the retreat. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10. I don't really want to field blow it just yet. Chaos Wheel. Sets up the 2-hit KO. He can't put down Fury Belts. He could like E-Hammer plus Flare Grunt and that would be really bad. Yeah, okay. That's really bad. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So we can still Field Blower this. Floatstone KO. But we are really low on deck. Two prizes gone. It's only bloody Lapras. It only takes forever to take KOs on them. Giving it a shot though. We definitely had a good chance to win the game at one of these points. On the turn that we end, we had a really good chance to win. They just happened to draw a Pokemon and an N off of 5 cards with their turn draw. Which is really rare. May I say that that is very rare. What we don't want to see is handiwork start coming down. It's the biggest thing here. Flagrant's pretty bad for us as well. Still have a handful in deck though. We have 3, 4, 5. Still have up to 3 in deck, but we have prized some. Oh, they choose to Lysandre instead. That makes no sense. That makes literally 0 sense. Attack! Has Lapras gone too far this time? Have they played too many items? Let's read on. Play switch. It's another item. Attach. Flagrant, yeah. Please top deck an energy. It would be so good if we top deck energy here. So good. Oh, never the dream. Oh no. Dream slipping. Slipping away. It's a bad thing for us to thin here, but I need to just check the deck to see if it's worth conceding. Okay, there's 2 in here, and we have our VS. Okay, it's not concede time yet. Thinking about putting down this Trubbish or not, whether it's a good idea. We put it down, play this. It means that if he has Aqua Patch, but I haven't seen any reason for him to play Aqua Patch. Let's pass. I could have also Lele'd for the Sycamore and had a 50-50 at the energy, but it also means we insta-lose against Handiwork. I think we already pretty much lose to Handiwork, but still. Now it's a 2 in 5 rather than the 50-50 it could have been. Damn, this is getting closer than I thought. Garb's good. Ah, blown out by Handiwork. Oh, he missed the energy. Okay, so we have a 66% chance to get energy. Screw this game. No! Okay, we lose. Now we just VS Seekers. That's so sad. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, we didn't prize any, but... So sad. So sad. Dun, dun, dun! Damn. Yeah, you be happy, mate. Well played. Got so lucky. Oh, man. Okay. Bad matchup for us. Let's be completely clear about that. But he got lucky. Let's have another game and see how we do. Let it be known that he got lucky. Lost the flip. No, it's a Sylveon. Could have donked him. Could have donked him. Oh, the possibilities. Oh, we led Hoopa again. Stop it, game. Why you do this? Yeah, Sylveon. Sylveon and can't donk. It's the same as Quad Lapras, where we just have to pray that they can't, or they have to play too many items. But Sylveon is much better than Lapras. So at this moment, we scoot to game 2. Just kidding. Let's give it a whirl. How bad could it be, huh? Oh, God. Okay. I think rescue stretch has to go. Our turn is Sycamore, right? Unless it's Lele. Yeah, it might be Lele N. It keeps our Garb and it keeps a VS Seeker, so I think it's worth it. Even though N's super important for when he starts using Ribbon, I think this is still fine. Note Float Stone is fine. We won't play any more cards down because we could well be delinquented. Gonna see a nice gold nest ball. The donk is truly over. And so is the game. Damn, son. But you know, our opponents have led with one Pokemon every single time. Just one little Pokemon in the active. One was a Shaymin. One was a Lapras. One was an Eevee, but we went second. Rapscallion, you got lucky this time, Sylveon. Such a cool concept, this deck. It's a shame it just doesn't work as you want it to. Fun times. This has been a fun video anyway. The concept is still there. The Garbodor finisher is really cool. It's played 60 damage as well. The dream. So if we do this, we have to end because we're in delinquent range, and I would rather keep an energy. So we end and play like 0 cards from this end unless one's exactly Floatstone. Okay. 3 of them, in fact, were Floatstone. Oh, 3 of them being Floatstone is so bad for me because he delinquents 2 away. Oh no. Energy Drive. Ka-chaw. That is, of course, if he does delinquent. Puts the Silent Lab down and has a think about things. Some life choices, no doubt. Flare Grunt. Huh. Okay. We can live with that. We can live with that. So if he's smart here, he takes DC every time. Unfortunately, Latios has Fairy Weakness. So I'm thinking Retreat Double Dragon, N and Prey. Prey doesn't get back into... Oh, Kukui would have been perfect if they didn't Flare Grunt. Doing exactly what Sylveon wants us to do. Get rid of all the energy. But we've end every turn, at least. We have backup DDE if he just goes for Flare Grunt next turn. We could be doing things, guys. We could be doing things. Going places. I mean, obviously not. We probably won't win this game, but... Took a prize. Took two, in fact. Oh, don't Flare Grunt as well. That's just not allowed. No, not allowed. Not allowed. Not allowed. Oh, I'm upset. Okay. Poor Double Dragon energy. How many items have they played? 80 damage? Because now's the time where we sort of need to kick off the Garbodor train. We don't have a hand for that. Male hope for N, if not Kukui. Ooh, looking bad from here. Lysandre is really bad, but it's a card we can get rid of at least. Ooh. Okay. Something happened. It has to be end this turn, right? It has to just be pressure. I feel like if we let him just put another Eevee down, we just like lose the game, so... Now then, let's try to not get delinquented. It's likely we will be, but has the E-hammer in hand as well. Damn, it's over. The dream is over. Greetings, friend. We couldn't play around it any longer. The end was potentially our downfall, but there we go. Yeah, that pretty much rounds out the game unless we rip exactly N off the top. We have no VS Seekers remaining. I think it's over. Trainer's Mail keeps us alive, maybe. Sycamore, I guess we'll go through motions then. We still have 100 damage with Garb, so maybe we do things. Who knows? Okay, we can't play any of these cards. If I go here, here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we lose a Garbodor. So we can't develop Ultra Ball this turn, so we just pass. Field Blower. Everything nice and gold from the opponent. They've opened a lot of this set. Everything reverse as well. Max Rarity, I like it. Is this one reverse as well? Oh yeah, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 for these swag points. Did they really not go for an Eevee? That's so crazy. So crazy. Ah, puzzles. Maybe they puzzle back Eevee. Maybe. Puzzle back more hammers, sure. What's great is we've hidden Garbodor from them the whole game. Just because we've drawn so poorly. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 4 energy gone. We have 4 psychics remaining. And we're currently doing 140. 170 with Choice Band. So our first... Oh no. Okay. I think these two cards go. It could be the Kukui. No, I think it's the Ultra Ball. Yeah, it's the Ultra Ball. So... This is where we hope he doesn't have Lysandre DCE in hand. He has like everything in hand, it's just whether or not he goes for these things is what matters. Yeah, he just said, oh dear, I have to play around with Garbodor now. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Handiwork is the best supporter we could have hoped for there. The absolute best supporter. That's so good for us. He's put down Lab so he can't develop Sylveon this turn. We can get a Garb KO here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 12, 14. 17 with Choice Band. Oh my days. Oh, it's happening. It's happening, Garb. Come here, Garb. Unless he buys himself a turn with Plea, maybe? Oh, wow. We're in this. We're in it. Yes, Garb. You're so good. Any bad deck can be created as long as there's a Garbodor in there. That's what we've learned about this game. Oh man, we still lose to so much, but this is fun. Ah, top decking Psychic is so bad. See ya. We don't play this hand because we'll take 2 prizes, stay out of delinquent range, and these cards are better to keep. So we're getting there. We might be getting there. Is it over? He has the delinquent energy Sylveon. If his turn is delinquent, unless he has a counter stadium, he has to counter stadium and then he can play a different supporter. Lysandre isn't good because we have Floatstone. I think we got there. I think Garb got there. The Crushing Hammer. Gets Tails anyway. VS Seeker, that gets us to 210. And he's thinking about what to go for. I think he'll go for Lysandre. Because there's 3 floats gone. Yeah. But we play 4. We play 4. Nice. Nice. Of course, Sunlab shuts off the Eevee. Gets a nice little quick draw. But it's all over now. Well played. Trash a launch. We got there. Took out the Sylveon, even though we went second. They said it couldn't be done. All of you were laughing at me. We almost beat the Lapras. We got unlucky, I think. But we beat the Sylveon in a long game. We beat a Sylveon in a drawn-out game. And that is a very rare thing to see. So, let's have one last glance at this deck. We didn't get any donks. We never had the chance to donk. We sort of just did things and it just kind of worked each game, but that's the way Garbodor works. People just can't play around this card right now. They just don't physically know how to. So, that has been a load of fun. This deck is a load of fun. I suggest you try it out. It's just so cool, and you have like 10 different attacks you can do in the deck, so your opponent can't play around everything, and a lot of the time they obviously don't know what we're trying to do because they've never seen a deck like this just yet, so it's all good fun. I'm hyped. This was a fun video. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll be back with more crazy inventions from Guardians Rising very soon. Cheers.